Hello everyone. Topic for today's discussion is parasitic zoonotic disease. Its name is leishmaniasis. What is leishmaniasis? It includes group of protozoal diseases. And this group or this syndrome may include Kala Azhar or visceral leishmaniasis, cutaneous leishmaniasis or oriental sore, mucocutaneous leishmaniasis or anthroponotic cutaneous leishmaniasis or zoonotic cutaneous leishmaniasis, or it may include post-Kala Azhar dermal leishmaniasis and other conditions. So remember its group or its syndrome where manifestation may occur in these different forms. Now what is causative agents for leishmaniasis? As we said, it's protozoal diseases. So protozoa, the genus involved is Leishmania, and there are near about 19 species which can effectively cause various forms of leishmaniasis. Now you know cause, it is leishmania. Now how it is transmitted? It is transmitted by bites of a vector. And what is name of this vector? Can you recall? Yes, you are right. It is sandfly. So whenever infected sandfly bites to humans, it can transmit leishmaniasis. One more thing in the beginning, we said we are going to discuss parasitic zoonotic disease. So leishmaniasis, it is having zoonotic origin. Other wild mammals or even domestic mammals gets infected. But as far as India is concerned, the most important problem in India out of these different forms is visceral leishmaniasis, and in India visceral leishmaniasis, it is non-zoonotic infection. So though in intro we said, remember exception in India for visceral leishmaniasis, we are saying it is non-zoonotic. Now let's see problem statement related with leishmaniasis. If you find global geographic distribution, leishmaniasis, it is mainly found in tropical and subtropical regions. In these regions, it is found in endemic form, and three important forms are seen in these areas. It includes visceral leishmaniasis, cutaneous leishmaniasis, and mucocutaneous leishmaniasis. Visceral leishmaniasis, what is another name for this? It is also known as Kala Azhar. And one of the most important thing related with Kala Azhar or visceral leishmaniasis is if these cases are not treated, fatality is very high. So case fatality rate, it is above 95%. It's up to 80 to 90% we have discussed for meningococcal meningitis presenting with meningococcemia or septicemia. So even fatality can be higher than cerebrospinal fever or meningococcal meningitis. So we said case fatality rate is more than 95%, and when this higher mortality is seen, it is seen in untreated cases. In 2015, estimated incidence of visceral leishmaniasis was from 50,000 to 90,000, and as far as 2015 year is concerned, more than 90% new cases they were reported to World Health Organization from 7 countries, and one of the country in these 7 countries is India. So it has been reported from India, along with India, from Brazil, Ethiopia, Kenya, Somalia, South Sudan and Sudan. Now, what important features we can see in visceral leishmaniasis? The cases of visceral leishmaniasis, they show irregular pattern of fever. Anemia and weight loss is common feature in visceral leishmaniasis, and most important feature is enlargement of spleen and enlargement of liver. But at the same time, asymptomatic cases can also occur, and another important problem related with visceral leishmaniasis is post-Kala-Azar dermal leishmaniasis. Another important thing what we can find is co-infection with the patients having HIV infection or those who are having AIDS. So we can find leishmaniasis more commonly in AIDS patients. Second commonly occurring form is cutaneous leishmaniasis. Now, as name suggests, here we can get characteristic skin lesions. In 2015, estimated incidence of cutaneous leishmaniasis was between 6 lakh cases to 1 million cases. We are talking about global estimated incidence of cutaneous leishmaniasis. And cutaneous leishmaniasis, whatever estimated incidence we said, 2/3 cases or more than 2/3 cases were reported from 6 countries. So these 6 countries reporting maximum incidence of cutaneous leishmaniasis in the year 2015 includes Afghanistan, Algeria, Brazil, Colombia, Iran. What characteristic skin lesions you can find in cutaneous leishmaniasis? Most characteristic manifestation is presence of ulcers, and these ulcers are mainly seen on exposed parts of the body. And when these ulcers heals, the scars are left behind, and these scars, they may remain lifelong. So even after healing, it is associated with disfigurement or it is associated with disability. The third important common form to occur in the world is mucocutaneous leishmaniasis. In this type, there is involvement of mucous membrane as the name suggests, and there can be destruction of mucous membranes, mainly affecting nasal mucous membranes, oral mucous membranes, or mucous membranes of throat. And this destruction, it can be partial destruction or it can be total destruction. What are the regions where maximum incidence of mucocutaneous leishmaniasis is seen? More than 90% cases of mucocutaneous leishmaniasis, they occur in Bolivia, Brazil, Ethiopia and Peru. What is scenario in India? In India, there are 54 districts where we can find visceral leishmaniasis in endemic form. And most important state, it includes Bihar. Bihar, it is followed by Jharkhand, West Bengal, Uttar Pradesh and other states which includes several districts. So maximum districts are affected by visceral leishmaniasis in Bihar. Then maximum number of districts affected, it is seen in Jharkhand and other states. Remember, in India, visceral leishmaniasis, it is notifiable disease in Bihar and in West Bengal. In this table, you can see deaths due to leishmaniasis in India in the year 2015, 16 and 17. Please note two important states with higher number of cases is Bihar and Jharkhand. Epidemiological determinants. Agent factors. Agent, already you know name of the genus, it is Leishmania. Leishmania are intracellular parasites. They mainly infect macrophages, and as we said earlier, there are about 19 different Leishmania parasites which are significantly associated with human diseases or human infections. And most important, their number is large, but there is no cross immunity. So if person suffers from particular parasite, person will become immune only to that particular species and not to other different Leishmania parasites. So remember, there is no cross immunity. Now we said there are important forms like visceral leishmaniasis. So what is causative agent of visceral leishmaniasis? It is caused by Leishmania donovani. Second important type which we can find throughout the world is cutaneous leishmaniasis, or it is also called as oriental sore. Causative agent of cutaneous leishmaniasis or oriental sore is Leishmania tropica. And what is the third form we said? Most prevalent throughout the world, it is mucocutaneous leishmaniasis. And what is causative agent of mucocutaneous leishmaniasis? It is Leishmania brasiliensis. So once again to recall, visceral leishmaniasis, agent is Leishmania donovani. Cutaneous leishmaniasis, agent is Leishmania tropica. And mucocutaneous leishmaniasis, agent is Leishmania brasiliensis. These parasites, they require two different hosts for their development. Out of these two hosts, one is vertebrate host but other is invertebrate host. And what two different forms of parasites we can see? In vertebrate host, we can see a mastigote. Mastigotes, they are also called as Leishmania body. Whereas in invertebrate host, we can find promastigotes. What is reservoir of infection for leishmaniasis? Now, as in intro we said, it's zoonotic, except Kala-Azar or visceral leishmaniasis in India, which is non-zoonotic. So reservoirs will definitely be animals. Animal reservoirs of leishmaniasis, it mainly includes dogs, jackals, foxes, rodents and other mammals. And again I repeat, in India, visceral leishmaniasis is non-zoonotic. So what can be reservoir for visceral leishmaniasis in India? Of course, it is man. What are various host factors related to leishmaniasis? Leishmaniasis, or specifically we are talking about visceral leishmaniasis, it is seen in all groups, and even visceral leishmaniasis can infect infants also. What is peak age incidence in India? In India, the peak age group which is affected, it is from 5 years to 9 years age group. As far as male-female distribution is concerned, males are affected twice often than females. Another important factor which contributes to leishmaniasis spread, it includes movement of population. Now people move for different purposes, and this moving population, it may include migrants, or it may include laborers, or even it may include tourists also. Now when such population movement, either through laborers or through migrants or through tourists, it occurs between endemic and non-endemic areas, this favors transmission of this disease. What is relation between socio-economic status and visceral leishmaniasis? Visceral leishmaniasis, basically it affects poorest people, or in other words we can say poverty increases risk of visceral leishmaniasis. Now why this is so, and how poverty is related with visceral leishmaniasis? Poverty, it is basically related with poor housing conditions, and whenever there is poor housing conditions and the walls of houses are kacha walls, there is possibility of presence of different cracks or fissures or crevices in such walls or even in the flooring or even in the ceiling. Now what is relation of these things with leishmaniasis? So these things, they are favorable for resting of the vector of this disease. So sandfly, they prefer to rest at such places. This is one thing. Second, poverty, it is related with domestic insanitary conditions like inappropriate waste management, open sewerage. Now these things, they contributes to breeding of the vector. At the same time, it provides resting places for the vector. So now what happens? There is increased man and vector contact. And another feature which is related to habit of sandfly, generally what picture we can find, poverty is related with the large family size. And the feature related with sandfly is sandfly prefer to attack crowded housings. Crowded housing with more number of people in the family. Now why this is so? Because sandfly, it gets good source of blood meal. So what happens? Poverty, it is related with the resting and breeding of the sandflies, and sandflies gets attracted to overcrowded houses. So both these factors, they contribute to increased incidence of leishmaniasis. There are certain human habits which can contribute to occurrence of this disease. It mainly includes habit of sleeping outdoors. Again, it increases man vector contact, or sleeping on the ground. Another important factor is there which is related with leishmaniasis and host. It's malnutrition. Now whenever the people, they are consuming diets which are inadequate in proteins, inadequate specifically in vitamin A, or it is inadequate in iron, and these are the specific nutrients which are deficient in their diet, and at the same time they are not getting sufficient amount of calories. So these things increases risk of infection of visceral leishmaniasis. What is relation between occupation and leishmaniasis? It is related with certain occupations like farming, mining, fishing, or forestry. So those people who are involved in these occupations, they are having higher risk of sandfly bites and higher risk of acquiring infection. Another important thing related to the host is immune status of the host. Now whenever the person acquires infection with visceral leishmaniasis or cutaneous leishmaniasis, they develop long lasting immunity. Environmental factors related with leishmaniasis, it includes altitude. This disease, it is mainly seen in plain regions, and at higher altitudes the disease is not seen. This altitude is 2000 feet or 600 meters. Now, what is relation of leishmaniasis with season? In the past, if you find epidemic curve of visceral leishmaniasis, two peaks can be observed in this curve. So these two peaks, one peak resembles to the period between March and April. So these are month of March and month of April. Another peak that has been observed in the month of November. And in general, there is high prevalence during rainy season and even after rainy season. Climate changes, as far as visceral leishmaniasis is concerned, it is climate sensitive disease. Why we are saying it is climate sensitive? Because there are so many factors in the climate which affects epidemiology of Kala Azar or visceral leishmaniasis. These factors mainly includes changes in rainfall, changes in temperature or changes in humidity. In addition to this, global warming, degradation of land, all these factors have impact on epidemiology of visceral leishmaniasis. In addition to this, when natural disasters occurs like floods or famines, this also favors migration of people, and as we said, movement of people or migration of people due to any reason between non-endemic and endemic areas favors transmission of disease. As far as rural urban distribution of visceral leishmaniasis is concerned, visceral leishmaniasis is the disease which is generally confined to rural areas. The reason is conditions in rural areas are favorable for breeding of the vector. Name of vector is sandfly or its phlebotomus. Now let's see vectors in detail. There are several species in sandfly. The most important vector for transmission of visceral leishmaniasis in India is Phlebotomus argenteps. I repeat, it is Phlebotomus argenteps. Another important form is cutaneous leishmaniasis. For cutaneous leishmaniasis, vector is Phlebotomus papataceae as well as Phlebotomus sargenti. Now, what are the conditions which are favorable for the resting of these vectors? It mainly includes ill ventilated areas and dark areas, cracks and crevices which are present in the soil, which are present in the walls or which are present in the flooring, tree holes. These are the areas where we can find presence of these vectors. And another most important habit of these vectors, these are nocturnal biters. So throughout a day they remains in their resting places, and at night hours the females comes out for blood meal. And as you know, only females which bites. So in disease transmission, only females of sandflies are involved. Another factor is development projects. Development projects can be of various types. It can be cultivation projects. These can be various water sources schemes or different types of projects. Now, whenever such projects are going on, this increases man-vector contact, and this increased man-vector contact plays major role in transmission of disease. Now let's see how visceral leishmaniasis is transmitted. So now you know name of the vector, and in the beginning we said it is the bite which is responsible for transmission. So whenever infected female Phlebotomus argentips sandfly bites to human, it transmits visceral leishmaniasis. And first link in the chain is person, so it's a case, and the next link is susceptible host, which is also person. So it is person to person, or it is man to man transmission, which occurs through bites of sandfly. So once again remember, visceral leishmaniasis in India is non-zoonotic. So that's why we can say only man-to-man transmission. Another way of acquiring infection is when insect is crushed during the act of feeding. This can also favor entry of causative agent. Another mode of transmission, it includes blood transfusion, and there is possibility of transmission of visceral leishmaniasis through contaminated syringes and needles. What is extrinsic incubation period? Extrinsic incubation period, this is the period which is required for the vector to become infective. So when vector takes blood meal from infected person, and the time which is required for the vector to become infective, so that it can effectively transmit the infection. So this time is 4 days to 25 days. Extrinsic incubation period is 4 to 25 days. We said there are 3 important forms: visceral leishmaniasis, cutaneous leishmaniasis, and mucocutaneous leishmaniasis. Visceral leishmaniasis, it is caused by Leishmania donovani. Cutaneous leishmaniasis, it is caused by Leishmania tropica, and mucocutaneous leishmaniasis, it is caused by Leishmania brasiliensis. Even most important thing to recall, in India, visceral leishmaniasis is non-zoonotic. So man is the most important reservoir of infection in India. And how it is transmitted? It is transmitted by bites of female sandfly. The species responsible for transmission, it is Phlebotomus argentips. And another important species which is involved in transmission of cutaneous leishmaniasis is Phlebotomus papataci and Phlebotomus sargenti, which is involved in transmission of mucocutaneous leishmaniasis. So overall you can say 3 important species are there of Phlebotomus or sandfly, which are involved in transmission of leishmaniasis. Rarely it may get transmitted through blood transfusion or through contaminated syringes and needles. What is incubation period of leishmaniasis? It varies from 1 month to 4 months. This is average incubation period, but it may range from 10 days to 2 years. Clinical features of leishmaniasis, there are 3 important forms of leishmaniasis. It's visceral leishmaniasis, also known as Kala Azar. It's cutaneous leishmaniasis, also known as oriental sore, or it is mucocutaneous leishmaniasis. Now let's see what are the various clinical manifestations that we can see in these three types or three forms of leishmaniasis. Visceral leishmaniasis, it is called as Kala Azhar, as you know, and there is one more important synonymous terminology for this disease which is used in India. We call it as black sickness. Now, why it is called as black sickness? The reason is very simple. Most important characteristic feature that we can find in India, it includes darkening of the skin. And darkening of skin, it is mainly seen on face, it is seen on hands, feet, or even on abdomen. Due to this feature, it is also called as black sickness. What are the other features that we can see? There is fever. Fever is associated with other manifestations or other important signs that we can get in visceral leishmaniasis is enlargement of spleen and enlargement of liver. In addition to hepatomegaly and splenomegaly, there is weight loss and anemia, and few cases of visceral leishmaniasis shows lymphadenopathy. Lymphadenopathy is a typical feature of visceral leishmaniasis. And most important thing, though these symptoms appears simple and minor, and in majority of other diseases also we can get fever, splenomegaly, hepatomegaly, as it is anemia, as same picture we can find in malaria. But if it is visceral leishmaniasis, it is very important to treat these cases. What is the reason for this? The reason for treatment is highest mortality is seen in untreated cases, and 95% mortality can be seen if these cases are untreated. So essential management in visceral leishmaniasis is required to reduce mortality. What is another manifestation that we can get due to Leishmania donovani? It is post-Kala Azhar dermal leishmaniasis. It is commonly seen in India. It appears after 1 year or even after several years of apparent cure of visceral leishmaniasis. So what happens following visceral leishmaniasis? Patients are apparently cured and they manifest PKDL, that is post Kala Azhar dermal leishmaniasis, after 1 year or after several years. Let's proceed further towards second form of leishmaniasis, that is cutaneous leishmaniasis or oriental sore. Now there are several forms in this oriental sore. These are abbreviated as ACL and ZCL. ACL, it stands for anthroponotic cutaneous leishmaniasis, and ZCL, it stands for zoonotic cutaneous leishmaniasis. Anthroponotic cutaneous leishmaniasis, it is also known as urban cutaneous leishmaniasis. So what can be the terminology for zoonotic cutaneous leishmaniasis? Yes, it is rural cutaneous leishmaniasis. So two synonymous terminologies are there. Either you can say anthroponotic or urban, or you can say zoonotic or rural. In addition to this, there can be diffuse cutaneous leishmaniasis. Now, as the name cutaneous leishmaniasis is there, definitely the agent in this form, it is restricted to the skin. And characteristic manifestation what we get in cutaneous leishmaniasis is ulcers. These ulcers are very painful, and these ulcers are mainly seen in the areas which are beaten by sandflies. Though this manifestation seems very routine or very common, as ulcers may occur in various conditions, but what is the characteristic feature of cutaneous leishmaniasis? These ulcers, they reduce ability of patient to work. So simply we can say they leads to disability. So cutaneous leishmaniasis is another example where it is related with disability. Third form is mucocutaneous leishmaniasis. Mucocutaneous leishmaniasis, again manifestation is ulcers. These ulcers are similar to the ulcers of oriental sore or similar to the ulcers of cutaneous leishmaniasis. These are mainly seen around the margins of mouth and nose, but these ulcers, they are significantly associated with social stigma, and they mutilate face of the patient very badly. So patient generally avoids to expose themselves in society. So we can say this is associated with stigma. So as these cutaneous manifestations are there which can be seen in cutaneous leishmaniasis or which can be seen in mucocutaneous leishmaniasis, and both these conditions, they are associated with stigma. So it should strike to your mind there is one more disease where you can get manifestations related with the skin, and the condition is also associated with the social stigma. Can you guess the disease? It's leprosy. So when you are dealing with cases of cutaneous or mucocutaneous leishmaniasis, another important skin disease you should have to keep in your mind is leprosy. So this is about clinical features of leishmaniasis. Now how we can diagnose the cases of leishmaniasis, what different methods are available for diagnosis. There are different types of test. So most commonly used test we will see first. It is a rapid diagnostic test, or it is rapid deep stick test. Now currently this is a method of choice for diagnosis of leishmaniasis. What is this test? This is a serological test basically. Here we use the protein, recombinant protein, which resembles to the epitopes on mastigotes. Mastigotes form we can find in vertebrate host. How this test is performed, as we are saying this is a rapid deep stick test. This test, it is based on the two important things. It consists of test strip. This test strip, it has two parts. So one part, it is known as test region, and second part, it is known as control region. Test region, it is coated with visceral leishmaniasis antigen, regarding which we talked earlier, that is RK39. It is coated with visceral leishmaniasis antigen and control region. So this is theoretical aspect. So basically how the test is performed and how we are going to interpret this test. This test, it is most important, and as we said, it is the choice for diagnosis of disease. What is significance of this test? This test gives us very quick results. Results can be obtained just within 5 minutes. and interpretation of results is very easy. Now what we are supposed to see, as you know, there are two regions. One we call as test region and other we call as control region. So one common thing, there should be always presence of red line in control region, and your interpretation now depends on the other part. So whether red line is present in a test region or not. So if red line is present in test region, we interpret this test as positive test. And if in the test region red line does not appear, we interpret this test as negative test. So interpretation is very easy. Just you should have to observe for lines. So which are generally test line is indicated on the kit by letter T, and control line is indicated generally by letter C. So for every test, whether it is positive or whether it is negative, presence of red line in control region is very essential. It is most important aspect. And interpretation, whether it is positive test, negative test, it depends on presence of red line in control region. Now, in case if you get the result where both lines are not seen, that is even in control region we do not see any red line, or in test line also we do not see, or the other possibility, you can see red line in test region and you can't see red line in control region. So in both conditions the test is considered as invalid. So what is to summarize here, in control region appearance of red line is very essential. So it is RK39 rapid diagnostic test, or simply you can call it as rapid deep stick test. Now what is second option available with us? It is parasitological diagnosis. Now what is done in parasitological diagnosis? Basically this is confirmatory diagnosis. So we can confirm visceral leishmaniasis or we can confirm cutaneous leishmaniasis. Now in this we can take aspirates from different organs. So we can take spleen aspirate, liver aspirate, bone marrow aspirate, or lymph node aspirate, and we should have to take into consideration in case of cutaneous leishmaniasis is the skin. So these are the various areas from where sample is obtained, and from this sample, for confirmation of diagnosis, it is important to isolate the causative agent. So isolation of leishmania confirms the diagnosis. Third option which we have, it is known as aldehyde test. Aldehyde test, it is easy to perform. It is very simple test and it is widely used test in India. In this test, sample required is serum. So 1 to 2 ml of serum it is required, and just in serum sample we are supposed to add 40% formalin. 1 to 2 drops of 40% formalin is added. Now if after addition of formalin in serum sample, if there is jellification, or if you can observe there is milk white opacity, this is considered as positive test. So we said jellification and we said milk white opacity. But interpretation depends, or it is related with the time duration. It should appear within first 30 minutes after mixing a serum sample with formalin. Ideal time is 2 to 20 minutes. So if in 2 to 20 minutes we get jellification or opacity, test is considered as positive, and after half an hour this test is not significant. Now when this test comes positive, this reaction it usually becomes positive 2 to 3 months after onset of disease. And again after recovery or after a cure, this test reverts back to negative in 6 months after cure. Next option that we are having is various serological tests. So one of the serological tests already we have discussed, that is RK39 deep stick test, which is choice for the diagnosis of leishmaniasis. In addition to this test, we can use direct agglutination test, we can use ELISA test, we can use indirect fluorescent antibody test, and on field, generally the sample which is preferred for field survey for diagnosis of leishmaniasis, it is the blood samples. They are collected on the filter paper strip and this is examined in laboratory. So this type of ELISA test, it is highly useful for field surveys. One more important test is used for diagnosis. This is known as Leishmanin test. In Leishmanin test, what we use is Leishmanin. What is Leishmanin? Leishmanin, it is the preparation which is obtained from promastigotes. Promastigotes we can find in invertebrate host. So this preparation, after sterilization, after standardization, it is used for performing the test. Now what is done in this Leishmanin test? The Leishmanin preparation which we are having, which is sterile and standardized preparation, it should be injected intradermally. Its dose is 0.1 ml and where to inject? It is injected on flexor surface of forearm. Test results should be read after 48 hours to 72 hours. See, we are injecting Leishmanin intradermally 0.1 ml on flexor aspect of forearm. Then we'll give instruction to patient to come back after 48 to 72 hours. And what thing you are supposed to observe? So most important thing that is observed in this test or it is measured in this test, it is induration. So what we measure is induration. And what is the positive test? When induration is 5 millimeter or more than 5 millimeter, test is considered as positive. So now at this stage, can you recall something or some other test which we have discussed with some other disease? Similar thing, same time for interpretation of test, same criteria to measure. Can you recall? Don't forget it's tuberculin skin test or Monteau test. So this is the test which is resembling with Leishmanin test. Now let's just come back again to Leishmanin test. So we said induration of 5 millimeter or more, it is considered as positive. This test usually comes positive in 4 weeks to 6 weeks after onset of disease in cutaneous leishmaniasis and mucocutaneous leishmaniasis. Say I am saying only cutaneous and mucocutaneous. So you must remember that in patients with visceral leishmaniasis, in about 75% of cases, the test is negative in all those patients who are having active visceral leishmaniasis or who are in active phase of Kala-Azar. So interpretation will differ. This test it comes positive for cutaneous and mucocutaneous, and it is negative when there is active phase of visceral leishmaniasis. Now, what is significance of this test? Why we use this test? This test help us to identify high risk persons. So which people they are having higher risk of infection, because based on this test we can distinguish those persons which are immune from those which are non-immune to the disease. Now another common blood test, what findings we can get in these test? It includes leukopenia, anemia, there is a reversal of albumin globulin ratio, even there is increase in WBC and RBC ratio. ESR is also increased. So these are few hematological findings that you can get in cases of leishmaniasis. There is one more test which is developed by ICMR, that is Indian Council of Medical Research, in the year 2014. For this test, the sample required is urine sample, or we can use oral fluid. This kit consists of solution. Now whatever solution is provided in this kit, these samples should be mixed with the provided solution. Even the strip is provided with this kit. This strip, it is dipped into the solution. So solution where provided solution to which we had added, to which we are supposed to add a sample, our sample, and then this strip is dipped into the solution. So those persons who are infected, they show red bond on the strip, and this number of red bond may be one red bond or it can be two red bonds. So presence of one or two red bonds which are on the strip, this test is interpreted as positive, and if you don't find red bonds on the strip, it is considered as negative. So there are several tests, but most commonly used, as we said, it is RK39 deep stick test. Remaining part we will discuss in next session, but before concluding, let's have a recap. In today's part, we tried to understand what is leishmaniasis. We saw three important types of leishmaniasis: visceral leishmaniasis, which is also known as Kala-Azar; cutaneous leishmaniasis, which is also known as oriental sore; and third important type, mucocutaneous leishmaniasis. In addition to this, we saw PKDL. PKDL stands for post Kala-Azar dermal leishmaniasis. Endemic distribution pattern of visceral leishmaniasis we can find in 54 districts in Bihar, Jharkhand, West Bengal and Uttar Pradesh. Remember, visceral leishmaniasis is notifiable disease in Bihar and West Bengal. Regarding its causative agents, Leishmania donovani is causative agent of visceral leishmaniasis. Leishmania tropica is causative agent of cutaneous leishmaniasis or oriental sore, and Leishmania brasiliensis is causative agent of mucocutaneous leishmaniasis. In India, the peak age group affected, it includes children between 5 to 9 years of age, and this disease mainly affects poorest of poor people. Visceral leishmaniasis is transmitted by bites of Phlebotomus argentips, whereas cutaneous leishmaniasis, it is transmitted by bites of Phlebotomus papatassi and Phlebotomus sergeanti. Laboratory diagnosis for leishmaniasis. It includes different types of tests like rapid diagnostic test, parasitological diagnostic tests, aldehyde test, serological tests, leishmanin test, and various hematological findings on blood test. Remaining part we will see in next session. Thank you.